Hi, friends, and welcome LEC community. My name is Tristan McGee, and I'm honored to be joined here today by Alicia Rodriguez-Montañez, who, if you might recognize her face from Expresión and Evolución Speaker, but I don't want to take all of your introduction from you. Would you tell us a little bit about yourself for those joining today that maybe have not had the honor of meeting you in person?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Alicia Rodriguez-Montañez. I am a Spanish teacher at the Oleita School District. I participated in the Expresión Fellowship last year, 2025, and I am a first generation student, and I'm also working towards my master's degree in school counseling.
You know what? I try to wait 5 minutes before getting into politics, but what a time to be heading into school counseling. Does that feel heavy right now thinking about that? The next 4 years and longer of defunding of Title I and other things that are related to your field. Like, what are your thoughts surrounding that?
It is a scary time, to be honest. It is making me anxious at first, but I think we can't forget about our aspirations and our passions of what we want to do in this community that I belong, KCK, which is where I want to work as a school counselor. And I think right now my main motivator is that what's happening. I want to be able to be prepared, receive that education. If anything arises from it, at least I have the knowledge still in me of how I can create change. And one of the things that I have value a lot is that I am part of a cohort, and I am three or four, or the fourth Latina within the cohort. And I'm really proud of representing my community and providing a voice for what's going on within our community and making others aware, because I noticed that within my classmates that are not part of the Latino community, they're not aware of what's going on within our community. I work as a teacher too, so when the first month of the new administration came in, there was a lot of scare within our community and the raids and all that stuff. And it was things that they live in in Oleita, for example, and they didn't know. So it was really empowering to be that voice and allowing others to kind of know what's going on and make them aware. And a lot of them still ask me like, hey, like what can I do, like can I support in any way? So getting allies, I think that's another thing that I have been able to get from this. And like I said, it's my motivation now. Like I even want to go farther and make sure that I finish this and I get the preparation, the knowledge that I need to be able to advocate for my students.
I I have spoken to so many teachers in the past 100 and something days, especially, and hearing that like refrain over and over again, like even when it's hard, I'm still committed to showing up because it's my family members, my friends, my lived experience, or my students. And even when things are difficult, even when the news seems like it's against all of us or against our students, like you still have the talent and ability to serve people. And so seeing folks talk about continuing through, even when some of the national narrative is so negative, is incredible to me.
Yeah. And I'm able to, for example, I can talk about something that happened to me today, this morning.
Yeah.
I primarily work with heritage classes. So I work a lot with Latino students. And this morning, my first class, first thing, the student approached me. Hey, miss, can I share something with you? And I said, sure. What's going on? And he said, I don't think I'm going to be here next year. And I said, how come? Well, my parents have an appointment in immigration in 2 months, and my dad is already scared that he's not gonna make it home after that appointment. And I have never been. I think the student lived in his hometown for about 1 or 2 years, and then he came to the United States at that age. So he's like, "What am I gonna do? Like, if I go back, like I'm gonna be really behind my classmates if I go back to school." So he was already like thinking in his head all the things that were going to happen. And I
Mhm.
just seeing that and seeing how scared and vulnerable they are, it pushes me even harder because I don't think there will be other school counselors that could understand that specific situation. I have family that are undocumented, really close family that are facing, they're in the borderline. We don't know what's going to happen.
Hmm.
So I think it's important that I use my own experience as a Latina and a community, that I'm part of the community, to better understand them. And I think it provides like a type of a safety for them to express what's going on, like that student. And luckily I had some information there that I was able to share, and it just made me really happy that that student had the courage and the vulnerability to come to me during class and share that with me. And that it's another like push of why I wanted to become a counselor, because I feel I will be able to help them even more as a school counselor.
Yeah, that relationship building and the ability to relate and empathize on a more personal level, that like it's hard for teens to relate, or middle schoolers to relate to adults as is. And so then when you layer things on top of, like, if I go tell this person and they have no idea of anything about immigration, maybe they'll tell me that I'm over exaggerating or it'll be fine. Because we do see, I think, unfortunately, in some well meaning but uninformed circles, that people don't realize how bad it is. I think, especially kind of in our ally group, which is why the storytelling and continuing to talk about it is so important. And it's so hard because they're deeply personal and painful stories.
Yeah,
Um,
it's trauma that the kids are facing. A lot of them, they
yeah.
a lot of we already. I was talking to another teacher there in my building, and I think she has lost two students already because of that. And their family have to move away and go back to their home country. So it's, I think, how many months, 2 3 months
Yeah.
that we have been under that administration, and we're already seeing the results. It's terrible. It's very traumatic for our kids, and it anchors me a lot, but at the same time it motivates me to keep going.
I have conversations with friends and colleagues sometimes around anger, because people are feeling kind of the pressure nationally right now. And I think, I wonder if there's anything you could share with people that are watching, especially now that you're leaning into that therapist lens and as a storyteller. I feel like you have such unique skill sets that come together. How can we really listen to these like gut checks and emotions that we're feeling and honor them, and not just push them to the side, maybe for like a false positivity, or not always staying in anger? Like, how do we navigate the complexities of all of that right now? It sounds difficult for people. It is difficult.
It is. It's a very difficult situation that we were facing, and I don't think nobody was prepared for this. Um, I think a good example from today, instead of me saying everything's going to be fine, your family's going to be fine, I think having the the tools that I can share with them in case it happens, like what can you do after, like what will be the plan for your family, who's going to take your car, the payments, your house mortgage, who's going to be the one taking care of this, like make sure that there's a game plan and not just be, like I said, just with that positive, everything's gonna be fine. That's not gonna work anymore. Like it's not, it's
Yeah.
not. So I think it's finding the solutions and attending trainings, for example, like know your rights and things like that, and becoming a voice for them within the building. And I work with Dr. Silva. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr.
Hmm.
Silva. She's
Yep.
amazing at doing that. And I think one of the things that I can share with is that she has been able to provide during our PDs, be able to provide some type of information
Hmm.
sessions for teachers that are not Latino to learn about what is going on with their students, like what's happening, how can you support. And I think it's a matter of providing the tools to our immigrant community of how to navigate the situation in case they are faced with it, but also those outside of the community, like educate them in some way, those that want to be educated, because not everybody wants to, but
Right.
make sure that we are educating those allies that are willing to support in some way. And I think there's a lot of power that we have as a community, uniting and educating in whatever the case might be, whoever we're trying to reach.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's yeah, we love Dr. Silva here at LEC for sure. And I find that there's leaders like her, whether it's a parent leader or a school district leader, or teachers who are leading the way, that kind of help influence leadership at each district to decide how much they prioritize those types of professional developments. Because as many of our audience probably does know, Title III in the Office of English Language Acquisition was completely defunded, or taken from 13 employees to just one. And some of those professional development grants were allowing schools to do different types of professional development. But everyone can say, I'm seeing this need. My students are coming to me with questions. Like, I need the training on that. So I'm really glad that you uplifted that. Even if there's not funding for it, we can still be deciding to do that at the local level.
Yeah, I think also we have to take advantage of social media, definitely, and
Mm-hmm.
how be able to do the research and find local organizations and how we're able to get those research from them. If we're not able to get it from federal funding and things like that, like
Mm-hmm.
what would be some other things that we can do that are in our reach that we can be able to do and accomplish. Yeah, it would take
Yeah.
time. Obviously, we're teachers and we're always busy and things going on with our families and students, and just being able to prioritize that as well because it's gonna impact us in one way or another.
So I don't want to stay the entire time in advocacy because my colleagues are going to ask me why we didn't talk about joy as well, because I know there's quite a bit of that. So you've been a teacher for 7 years, is that correct?
Yes.
So tell me the difference of Alicia from 7 years ago today to, let's say, last summer. Let's leave politics of this year out of it. Just so those that are thinking about becoming a teacher and in their first years can kind of see what it might feel like in their first few years as a teacher.
Oof. It has been a journey. It has been a total journey, a total I guess it's hard to describe, but I think my first year, I was going into the classroom very excited, very um, positive minded. Like everything's, I got this. I'm gonna do what I love, and I'm gonna be working with students, and I'm gonna have my classroom, how I'm gonna decorate it, and all those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once I got into the classroom, I just love that relationship piece where you get to work with your students, especially my heritage classes. That's one of my passions, working with my Latino students. Um, I think one of the things that kind of made my job a little bit difficult was my personality. I'm someone that's very empathetic, very relaxed, really patient, and just being able to navigate that in discipline. So I think that's one of the things. Like I was going super happy and positive, like I said, and finding out that there has to be a balance. There has to be You have to be empathetic, but at the same time, you gotta make sure that you are setting your rules and making sure that they are following them, and to be able to teach and to be able to reach each student and have a learning environment, pretty much. Once I got that kind of not 100%, I was faced with reality outside of school with my family. I went through several losses within my third and fourth year during COVID, those years. So it was very traumatic time. And then that my fourth year of teaching, I also got physically assaulted by a student, and this student was someone that was receiving special services. So it was out of everybody's control. But facing those losses and then that situation was a moment where I was ready to leave. Like I was done. I didn't want it to be in the classroom. I was very traumatized. I was depressed. And one of the things that supported me the most was having a circle around me within my family and also in the teaching community. Having LAC was one of the big things that supported me. I worked with Susana that specific time that happened. And I remember she went into my classroom for some reason and she found me crying because of what I was going through. And it was a really emotional time. And I had her support. I had my other colleague support. I had my family support, so I was able to overcome that. And it took me several years to overcome that, but I never quit. I stick with education, and I always had in my mind that I had to live with intention. And my intention was to be a teacher and work with my kids, and especially Latino kids. And after that whole transition, I was able to find in me, based on what I have lived, I was able to discover in me my passion for mental health. And I think everything was connected in some way or another. And that's one of the things that had led me to school counseling, I think. And one of the things that I would share with new teachers is that don't be scared to transform your career. Don't think that you have to be a teacher, um, do the same thing every single time, but let yourself evolve, let yourself learn from what's going on, and follow your instinct, follow your heart, and make sure that you are surrounding yourself with a very strong supporting system. I think that's one of the things that really helped me a lot to overcome that, and stay in education. And if you're not happy in a specific place, a specific school, there's so many schools out there. And you don't know if that's one of the things that's pushing you to find that right school. Right now, I'm working alongside Dr. Silva, and this is my second year, and having her as my mentor. And she was also my high school teacher, too. So that's another connection, too. So having her also along my side, I feel even more supported, and I feel like she was also a big impact in my career. She's the one who was able to bring me to Olathe North, so I was able to um, overcome everything that I was going through, and I'm in grad school right now and doing much better than what I was doing, and I feel like it's just a matter of learning from what happens within your career, and appreciating every moment, but at the same time, make sure that you're taking care of yourself mentally and spiritually.
I I'm curious. What about you or your upbringing or your culture or your personality or your relationships makes you so open to that type of like evolution and evolving? Because the way you speak on it, obviously this is 7 years out, so maybe in the moment it was difficult, but I really admire hearing that about you. So I wonder, what has formed that as one of your personal values. It sounds like being open to that evolution and change.
Um, I don't know. I think just being an immigrant helped me a lot to be resilient. And I came to the United States when I was 10 years old. I grew up in Mexico in my grandparents' farm. I grew up in a very humble way, and having that taken away from me, and having to start from zero, and being 10 years old, not knowing the language, but still have to help my parents navigate like the how to enroll in school and things like that, was very it was difficult at first. And I think that in some way prepared me for what was coming, and having experienced that have shaped in me that resiliency that I feel that I have been able to acquire and continue to use every day. And one of the things is that I like to find a way to I always want to find something that will help me get better and not go back to where I was. And one of the things that really transformed everything, I think, that kind of put that um, was the expression cohort.
Mm.
I I already had worked. I was going to therapy and things like that, and getting some support and things like that. But I think sitting down and having that time to reflect on everything that I faced, my grief, my pain, my physical trauma that I had, it was very impactful for me, and it gave me a better understanding of how I was able to overcome all of that and turn it into something beautiful. And I think I was able to do it through evolution. It was a total evolution that I had, and that's where I made my decision of going to school counseling after that program.
That's incredible. I did not know that you'd made that decision after that program.
Yeah, it was. I was while I was working on my story, I started looking into it, and I met this amazing school counselor, Aleta, as well. She is from Argentina. Samantha is her name, and she seeing how she works with the ELL population, and was very inspiring, and I saw myself doing things similar to her. So I think that's one of the other things, like seeing other Latinas being successful and making a change also was a very, very big thing for me. And it has shown me that um, where I can, things that I can reach. Maybe I didn't have those role models in my family because I didn't have the opportunity, but I can see it around me.
I don't know if you're aware of this. We've only been chatting for 20 minutes, and you've shouted out specifically Susana, Dr. Silva, Samantha, Air, and I just, that like community minded mindset that you seem to like so easily have, and to recognize how others have helped you along the way. It's beautiful. Do you realize you do that? Is that a thing that you always do?
I do.
No, I think it's incredible, and I think it shows the foundation of the work that we do and that everyone needs to be doing alongside each other. We can't always control decisions that are made at the federal level or even at the district level, but that one-on-one individual support sounds like it has been life-changing for you.
Yeah, it has. And like you said, like I am not where I am if I didn't have the support from certain people. I couldn't have done it alone at all.
I would like to end on something very hopeful. Um, as you're thinking about the future for Latino youth, you're envisioning the most ideal, beautiful future of education for Latino youth specifically. What does that look like, or what could it look like?
So I truly believe that if I had the power to control everything that goes surrounding the education system, I think preparing and training our school counselors and educators to work with the immigrant community and also with minority groups, specific groups. In this case, would be the Latino community for sure. So being able to provide them with the knowledge and be able to expose them to the realities that our kids face will solve so many toxic stereotypes, so many, oh my gosh, like it will solve so many things because a lot of the times there's always comments saying, well, we can't really help them, they don't show up to the meetings like the parents and things like that. So providing them with that knowledge, like, hey, this is what the community goes through, this is what they represent, this is their experiences. Now how can we change what we do to maybe be able to fit their needs? How can we better serve? And I think Rev Ed, the organization that you guys also work with, it's also one good example of what I mean by that. Just providing within districts, having organizations or certain groups that will be able to do that and prepare our school counselors and teachers, administrators as well, because they're the ones who are suspending kids and things like that. So be able to understand like what are their struggles, and instead of just reprimanding by disciplining them and things like that, being able to find solutions like, hey, what can we do to change this? And I think that's one of the main things, to educate them in what the communities go through.
So capacity building at all levels for all the adults that ever interact with our kids, and then our kids are naturally going to shine, is what I'm hearing you say. We can just inform school counselors, decision makers. I love the shout out to Revet. Revet is our 501c4 organization,
Mhm.
led primarily by Christy Moreno. She does a lot of trainings with executive leadership at schools, sometimes counselors, sometimes teachers, sometimes invited by teachers who are doing incredible work at every district, really across the nation. We see teachers as our shining light right now. And so when people are feeling down about politics, I feel like look to what teachers in your area are doing. You'll feel quite a bit better. Alicia, any last words that you'd like to share with us before we wrap up today? Thank you so much for sharing all of that and for shouting out seven. I think we're up to 7 people that you've mentioned or organizations, and I love that about you. But I just wanted to thank you and see any last words from you before we head out.
No, the only thing is, if we stick together as a community, allies, we will be able to overcome this. And it's not just, like I said, a matter of just being positive that everything's going to go by. It's not. We have to fight, we have to unite, and we have to educate those that are uneducated.
And with that, we'll close out. Thank you.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
y'all.